So I've been across the internet, right? I've been on Tumblr, I've been in really dark places on Twitter, which is already a really dark place on the surface to begin with, so that means something. If you, like me, been across the internet, you've probably seen people, most often girls with no father figure except British Minecraft YouTubers, which is describing half of me as a teen. I watched German Minecraft YouTubers having a really weird parasocial relationship with actual serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer, Richard Ramirez, the Columbine shooters for whatever reason, or the one and only Ted Bundy. And of course, like the still forming teen I am, I was kinda interested in it. Not anymore, thank fucking God. And I can proudly say that my taste in men was always as good as it is today, so I couldn't give two shits about their 3 out of 10 40-year-old looking asses. But what interested me, and always interested me, was what makes a psychopath a psychopath, or a serial killer. This by no means mean that psychopathic people are automatic serial killers or even bad people. Of course not. I made a whole 1-hour video about that. It's in German though, so you might want to learn German for it. It is a stigma. If you're a diagnosed psychopath, you are by no means an automatic danger to the people around you. Psychopathy can just mean that you have troubles or lack the empathy to understand other people's emotions. That's why so many serial killers are put into this spectrum, because the thought of them doing these things to other people is so far a part of our or society's understanding of empathy that we can't put them anywhere else. When in reality there are so many things stacking on top of each other, what makes them break and do things like that. So lack of empathy or trouble understanding people's emotions can also be the case in the autism spectrum, which, yeah, when I made my serial killer researches as a kid, which usually means on Twitter that someone is masturbating. Not with me though, as far as I can remember. I always saw something that was called the Hare Psychopathy Checklist, with Jeffrey Dahmer, for instance, scoring 22 out of 40, which doesn't make him an actual psychopath according to this test, and Ted Bundy scoring a 39 out of 40. So obviously, I was always a bit curious about his whole thing. I never did it, not that I know of. I remember doing like a Buzzfeed test on like where I am on the psychopathy spectrum, and but Buzzfeed. So I've decided why not and overshare on the internet while doing it, because that is the one thing I'm truly capable of doing in my unsatisfied life. So the Hare Psychopathy test, right, is a 20 questions test about finding out if you're a psychopath or not. Sounds way too easy. It gets often brought up in court to determine if the accused is not guilty by reason of insanity. So this is a highly dangerous test that can make or break your life depending on how it's handled, and it is highly mandatory that a professional doctor performs this test in a highly guarded environment. In other words, hallo, mein Name ist Dr. Tobi, ich schwöre, ich bin ein lizenzierter Dr. Pilgrim und heute teste ich diesen kleinen Haufen Scheiße auf Psychopathie. So you can trust me as a licensed doctor and hear me out. Do not take this test seriously when doing it on your own. You yourself are never your own authority. This is just for fun. This video is entertainment. If you haven't already noticed by this ye old ass haircut I got. So I found what I think is the exact Hare Psychopathy test online on idrlabs.com. I don't know if that is a trustworthy site, but you're watching an overweight NB who is in their midlife crisis with 18. So who the fuck cares? So the first question is, who am I doing this for? Who do you want to assess for psychopathy? I'm doing it for myself because I am literally clinically insane, slowly drifting, clinging onto every descriptive word that in my small perception describes me. Every question can be answered with either no, sometimes, and yes. So does not apply, applies partially, I don't know, applies very well, which is the reason why you can score 40 points out of 20 questions. So no or does not apply means 0 points, sometimes or applies partially, don't know gets 1, and applies very well, or yes gets 2. Get it? Splendid. I have poor behavioral controls and find it hard to keep my impulses in check. Well, that does fit me, yes. I struggle with my anger and my sadness, and I have indeed really poor self-control when it comes to these things sometimes. Many people seem shocked when I tell them this because I'm usually really reserved, but people that are really near me know for a fact that I am an emotional, behavioral mess of a fucking dickhead. I would say one, because I do get angry and sad and have a hard time keeping my impulses, but I've never done harm physically to any person that was in my reach while it happened, as far as I know, hopefully. And I've never had an impulse where I attacked someone. It applies partially because I've never hurt anyone on a physical level, probably on an emotional level, and I've also broken objects. These questions are hard. I wanted to make jokes about them. My father died of a drug overdose when I was 10, 2 days before my birthday. I gotta make self-deprecating jokes to cope with the fact that I don't really have any knowledge or experience to deal with my traumas and emotions, so I come back to the same my father died jokes because that is the one thing that gives me some type of comfortness and familiarness. Sorry for that one. Next. I live like a parasite on others, e.g. by borrowing money I will never pay back, cynically exploiting others for favors, etc. Jesus fuck, Bong Joon-ho. This is extremely hard to answer. I'm 18. I should probably live at least a bit like a parasite with that age, right? I'm giving myself a 0. Does not apply, because again, you're 18. Exploit others. Come on. Do it with me. Honestly, I'm getting help, which isn't exploiting others because I genuinely need the support and help that I get. I guess not. I display a lack of remorse or guilt. I would say yes. For the most time I really lack guilt, or I guess people expect me to feel more guilty for the things that I've done. But again, this probably comes from the fact that I'm just actually autistic. So give me some fucking slack, will you? Do I see a problem with that? I'm living life. I get around. I have broken many different types of laws, i.e. my law breaking has not been restricted to any single domain such as sexual, financial, or similar. The fucking wording on this, man, that's why... It's an American test, you can't take out British. It's from a Canadian, I think, so he didn't make the questions in British. So, of course, I don't understand them. I guess this means that someone broke different types of laws, such as, I don't know, endangering people sexually or physically, robbing banks, breaking traffic laws, yada yada yada. I'm a good boy. I grew up Christian. So no, I do my taxes. I'm not Yoshi. Most I've done is make lettuce. So 0 does not apply. I generally evade responsibility and do not answer to well, I'm 18 years old, right? I have a habit of blaming others for my own problems and generally do not accept responsibility for my own actions. Normally when I talk about my lack of guilt or empathy, that doesn't necessarily mean that I direct these feelings to others when I don't apply them to myself. I don't apply them to anyone, really. Just live your life, I guess. Be mischievous. No, actually. I don't blame anyone, including me, when there is a problem, except for like really big things like, you know, politics, for instance. But no, but again, the question is accept responsibility for my own actions. I don't do that. I don't do that too. I don't blame anyone except like rich people and white people. So I guess 1 for I don't fucking know. This test is... This test is really capitalistic. Sorry, but I do blame other people, rich people, but in my view that doesn't make me psychotic, holding myself accountable, for instance. That is just like rich people being genuinely the bane of my existence and many others. So many of my problems wouldn't be here if we had just eaten rich people, but I'm still giving myself a 1 because I do think that this question doesn't ask that, but rather smaller things in a smaller spectrum. So yeah, I'm overly impulsive. If you know me, you know for a fact that I've had panic attacks over spontaneous decisions made from others. I can't. Everything needs to be planned. Anything else is not acceptable. Do I think that's okay? Not really. While I do think that being spontaneous is more of a pain in the ass than having to plan everything, I wish I would be more realistic and not break whenever something happens that I didn't plan for a week straight. But that's just mental illness. I have a huge desire to control things for myself because right now I'm not capable of doing so, and sometimes I feel like somebody else is controlling me, so I project these feelings towards activities with my people so that I have the slightest feeling of being under my own control. But other than that, I can get impulsive again with anger or sadness, so I'm giving myself a 1 for the fact that my feelings are extremely impulsive and can change in a matter of seconds, but my actions aren't. Does that make sense? Probably not. Do I overthink it? Probably. Hotel, Trivago. Continue. I've had at some point in my life been given a mild reprimand or warning by the authorities on the condition that I did not repeat my offense, yet nevertheless ended up repeating the offense anyway. I've never been in any contact with police or court. I never did any noteworthy crime which could have got me in contact with police or court. What? Well, no, actually, I've never been in direct contact in this type of context, so I have often tricked, conned, and or manipulated people. I guess I have. I do think I need to be honest when I make tests like these. I'm not saying who, where, what, but let's just say that I know how to get what I want from someone if I really tried hard enough. This just came out so much worse than it really is, but you know, do you know, I guess I have to be honest with this and say that yes, I do sometimes do this willingly for my own benefit, and I guess you're watching this video right now and expected it to be good. I don't take pride in my art and hobby too, sadly. I have an easy or unconstrained social life. Oh man. There's nothing to make a joke, that's just it. I have a history of juvenile delinquency and or crime. That's just worded so passionately. Who the fuck wrote that? Who speaks like juvenile delinquency? I have performed a mild amount of tomfoolery. I guess my biggest crime is being this fucking hot and desirable. Hey! My boyfriend left me because I wasn't as desirable anymore. But no, in all honesty, I don't think I've done many crimes in my history again. At least I've never been caught for it. I'm gonna give myself a 0. Well, I'm gonna go start doing crimes now. Well, I'm gonna give myself a 0 because I think the most crime I've ever did was make salad. Nobody cares. I am characterized by shallow emotional responses. No. I am the most emotional thing that has ever happened in anybody's life ever. I bawl my eyes out half of the day, and I'm extremely annoying when I have my fucking 5 minutes. So no, I be emo. No. 0. Go away. I have a grandiose sense of self. Well, that's just free, right? Look at me. Jesus fuck. I guess if it comes down to it, it really depends. I have a YouTube channel and an Instagram profile, which is all about me talking about what I think is right. So in that sense, I have a high sense of self-worth when it comes to what I believe in and what I think is right. But all the other things, come on, fuck, take a look at me. Jesus Christ. I think every YouTuber has to be a fucking psychopath to some point, right? They have to like themselves to some point, right? I think I'm gonna give myself a 1. It applies partially, but I don't know. Because in some cases I highly regard myself, my views and what I say and what I believe in. But on the other hand, I have chronic depression and an anxiety disorder. I have had many serious romantic relationships that have fallen apart after a short time. Well, what's a short time? I'm guessing like a few months, maybe? I've had 3 relationships in my life that I've taken serious. I've had many that weren't serious, but that's for another time, you goddamn dirty slut. I've had one for half a year, one for a bit more than a year, and one for nearly 2 years. It is rising, boys! The next one will be 3 years and even harder to cope with. When they inevitably break up with me because I can't seem to make people happy and have butterflies in their stomach for me for a long time. Haha! True story. Hey! I'm gonna say does not apply, so 0, because I didn't have many serious relationships to begin with, and because if I do get in a relationship, my intent is for it to be for a long or eternal time, I guess. Bye bye. I am callous and or lack empathy. What the fuck is callous? Goddamn motherfucker. Herzlos. Okay, no, callous. That's a cool word for a demon or something. Anyway, I guess sometimes I do, and it's just something that I'm fighting with my entire life, which is something I struggle with, because I genuinely want to be more empathetic. It's just hard for me and my silly little autism. If you ask my mom, she'll probably answer with a 3 for get them in jail, but stating the fact that I'm genuinely trying to be more empathetic and acknowledging that I struggle with it, that I struggle with my incompetence of feeling empathy sometimes, I'm gonna give myself a 1, because I know that I lack empathy, which shows me that I'm actively trying to do better. Am I putting too much thoughts in these Buzzfeed questions? Yeah. I have a history of promiscuous sexual... What in the ever-loving God's name is promiscuous? Ah, you have a lot of sexual partners. Ah, promiscuitive. Thank you, German. I could have gotten that myself. Okay, so this question asks if I fuck a lot. I don't know what the standard is. I've done my fair share of sharing children with different people. Yeah, I would rather have one person, but you can see where that has gotten me. I would say I don't know, because I genuinely don't know what the promiscuitive starts, when it starts. I have an excessive need for stimulation and I'm prone to more. Doesn't anyone? It's 2021. That applies very well to everyone, I guess, right? Am I a psychopath? I guess my main motivation when starting something is because I don't want to get bored. So yeah, don't need to think about that one. It applies very well. I completely understand that I'm a person that gets overstimulated all the time, but I do object that I would have taken my silly little life some eons ago if that wasn't the case. And I think many people could relate to that. Oof. I have a history of exhibiting cruelty to others. While Mr. Hare Checklist, I'm kinky. But other than that, I guess this question doesn't involve this particular part because it is consensual. I've lived my kinks consensual, thank you. I'm guessing that this means that it is not consensual. In that way, I guess I haven't really done cruelty to anyone. Well, ask my exes, am I right? My ex-wives. My boyfriend left me a month ago. Do I want to embarrass myself in front of the 10 people that will see this video, 6 of them being me? Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I have a history of doing like actual horrible things to animals as a child, which yeah, it starts there. For instance, I had this thing I always did as a kid on rainy days where I took a bunch of slugs, put them in a bucket and just let a fucking huge stone, the fattest one I could find that I could have lifted, and let it fall fall onto them, squashing them into like a thick bloody paste, and then drawing with it on the sidewalk. That's where my art history started. So that's concerning. I'm vegan now. This has haunted me. And also I got into a lot of fights as a kid, but since all these things are from my childhood, and as far as I know I haven't done cruelty to others in the last 4 years. I don't want to be edgy, but considering its history, I'm giving myself a 1. Because I was a huge dipshit who was really aggressive and sad and took that out on a lot of people. And now I still am. But now I'm doing it consensual and some people think it's hot. So, not the snail part. They don't think that the slug part is hot. I guess some people think it's hot. Oh my god, I'm a pathological liar. Ugh. I wouldn't call myself that, but I've had instances where I knowingly lied for my own benefit. Damn, God, I thought it'd be funny to overshare because I can make jokes about it, but now it's just sad and sounds so incredibly wrong, but I promise it is not what it sounds like. Could be just me being straight up fucking lazy, alright? I would give myself a 1 because I genuinely don't know what I would answer. I think many people would call me a liar, or at least someone who's not completely true to themselves and to others. And again, you're watching this video thinking that I will be entertaining, so I did just lie to you. Oh yeah. I lack long-term I lack realistic long-term goals. Well, I guess I'm 18. I don't have a job. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with myself. I guess I want to be an artist, but that is a grandiose scheme that will probably pan out. So what the fuck? But again, I'm fucking 18. Nobody in their right mind should have long-term goals as an 18-year-old. I'm way too young to think about my future. I'm here to chew ass and kick bubblegum. So I'm giving myself a 1 because the question does describe me, yes, but I'm 18 fucking years old. So actually, society, you're given 2 points. But all in all, my entire life was and is still a fucking delirium. So I couldn't give 2 shits. I'm drifting through life, and if you aren't at 18 years old, I'm sorry, but then you're just this fucking 10-year-old kid on TED Talk talking about how much they want to work.
At 10, you're stuck. You're not really a kid, and you're not really an adult, and you're very clearly not a teenager. But seriously, I can't wait to work.
What the fuck is with this guy?
Have fun in your life. Okay, that's the last question. Fuck. Alright, the black one is me with the different things. The red one is the psychopathy threshold, so where psychopaths would actually be, and the gray one is the population average. This makes you 33.5 times more psychotic than the average person. Hey! You do not qualify as a psychopath. Alright, I think that's alright. 33% psychotic interpersonal style, 58% psychopathic lifestyle, 38% overt antisocial features. I'm actually diagnosed, what's it called? Antisocial anxiety? Social anxiety? Something like that. I'm actually diagnosed with this, so this makes not very much sense, but okay. And 43% total psychopathy, so I'm half of a psychopath. Nice. Thank God I'm 6 feet tall. Explanation of factors. Alright, okay, there we have it. Psychopathy interpersonal style, 33%, so this doesn't really affect me that much. Denotes selfishness, callousness, and the remorseless use of others. People behind this trait are characterized by shallow emotional lives, superficial charm, manipulativeness, and a lack of empathy. That's alright, 33%. I would probably put myself higher, but if this test thinks that I'm not that, that's alright, thank you, test. Psychopathic lifestyle is 58%, so phew. Psychopathic lifestyle indicates a tendency towards a chronically unstable, antisocial, and socially deviant lifestyle. Other elements of this style include sensation seeking, irresponsibility, inability to hold a normal job, and the inability to maintain dysfunctional relations. That's just mean at this point. Fuck you. Well, I guess it's right. right? Overt antisocial features include reactive anger, criminality, and a lack of impulse control. The likelihood is low that people rate high in this dimension will amend their ways. Alright, that's alright. I thought with overt antisocial features that it would be like, I don't like talking to people, but it's more like I'm actively endangering other people. So 38% is okay. I think overt antisocial features and psychopathic interpersonal style could probably change. Total psychopathy, 43%, denotes the person's total psychopathy score. Individuals in the 75 to 100% range are considered psychopaths on the Psychopathy Checklist. Individuals with scores below 75% are not. So I am actually not a psychopath. I didn't actually count like how many points I made. Like you can score like 40 points. So here's my score. That was the Hare Psychopathy Checklist. I'm not a psychopath, I'm just autistic. Thank you for watching. I hope you had a great time listening to me actually really oversharing about myself on the internet. I hope you have a great day. Like this video, subscribe to me, blah blah blah. Nobody cares. Fuck off. Will you? Bye bye.